All right, so 6.1, we're starting off talking about angles, and let me just be clear about what I'm doing. So, my videos, I'm going to be updating them, and but a lot of the information is in Canvas. So, you need to go to Canvas if you've never had a background in working with angles, whether we're converting degrees to radians, radians to degrees, even if you don't know what a radian is, you need to go back and look at the Canvas pages, read the Canvas pages, and look at the interactives, because what I'm going to be doing is recapping some of the definitions and then working examples. So here we go. So when I talk about an angle, I have an initial side. So an angle is two rays. So you have an initial side, and you have a terminal side, where that second ray, and that's where the angle ends. And if you go counterclockwise, if you start on the initial side and go counterclockwise, then we would say it's a positive angle. If you start on the initial side and go clockwise, the other direction, that's going to be a negative angle. And notice I gave a definition here, standard position. It's an angle whose initial side is on the positive x-axis. So the positive x-axis, remember, you're familiar with the rectangular coordinate system. So the positive x-axis is just this axis on the right. So for this course, most of our angles will start in standard position, which is, like I said, the initial side will start on that positive x-axis. All right, so going back to how we measure an angle. So like I said, you can go back to the Canvas if you need more detail, but to convert from degrees to radians, we're going to multiply by pi over 180. And then to convert from radians to degrees, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. All right, so let's do some examples of this. So the first examples we're going to go from degrees to radians. Notice I have 20 degrees. I've got a degree symbol, so I know that's in degrees. And to convert this to radians, I'm going to multiply by pi over 180. All right, so the degree symbols are going to cancel out, and then you just reduce it. So if you don't know exactly how many times 20 goes into 180, just start with 10. So I get rid of my zeros, and then I know 2 goes into 18 9 times. So converting 20 degrees to radians, that's just going to be pi over 9, because I'm going to multiply straight across after I cross cancel or reduce as much as I can. If we have a negative angle, we're doing the same thing. We're still multiplying by pi over 180, except my answer is going to be negative. And 30 degrees goes into 180 6 times, so this leaves me with negative pi over 6. All right, so let's go the other way with this. Let's go radians to degrees. So I've got 4 pi over 3. To convert that to degrees, I multiply by 180 over pi. All right, and remember that if you get confused, if you're like, oh, do I multiply by 180 over pi or pi over 180? If you've got a radian and it's got a pi in it, you want that pi to cancel out. So the pi's got to be on the bottom. So you're multiplying by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel out. 3 goes into 180 60 times, and then you multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, so we get 240 degrees. Okay, same thing with a negative. When I multiply by 180 over pi, my pi's cancel out. 15 goes into 180 12 times, and when I multiply negative 2 times 12, I get negative 24 degrees. All right, and I'm going to do one more of these. Notice that my example that I'm given here is 3. Well, what does 3 mean? It doesn't have a degree symbol by it, that means it's in radians. So this is asking for you to convert 3 radians into degrees. Now, if you just kind of try to make sense of it, remember what pi is. Pi is 3.14 radians approximately. So you've got to think 3 radians is going to be a little less than 180 degrees. But let's just go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to multiply by 180 over pi. Now I don't have a pi to cancel out, so I'm actually going to use my calculator to get an approximation. But when I multiply across here, I got 540 over pi, which is an exact answer. So it'd be 540 over pi degrees, right? But that doesn't really help us any, so I'm going to convert this. I'm going to use my calculator. And remember to put your calculator in degree mode. So I've got 540 degrees divided by pi, and that's going to give me approximately 171.9 degrees. And that's what we thought. Remember that we talked about pi being a little over 3, so 3 is going to be a little less than 180 degrees.